Fort Worth, let's make a move. Unique is what we do. Take a seat, be introduced to the lives in FORTitude. Burn the town down, Cowtown, let's dance, interact, meet some new friends. Go ahead, cancel all your plans for the stories you'll remember in FORTitude.
Welcome back to FORTitude, everyone. I have a very, very special guest in studio today. One of my new friends, Sunny Brous. Sunny Brous was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, the year 2015, and she's here graciously to discuss the disease that she's suffering through right now, what it's meant to her, and all that it entails. And I'm grateful to have you in studio, Sunny. Thank you very, very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Surely. So, lovely to meet you. Your name carries a lot of weight in this town. You've done a lot of good in the ALS community. And today I'd like to talk about you and that. So,
Okay.
Getting into it, you're a Hyco native, correct?
I am. We moved there in 3rd grade, so got there as fast as we could.
You told me real quickly for the show, your mother was is a retired justice of the peace. What was that like growing up with?
And she was the lunch lady, so
lady.
she knew everything that happened before it happened.
Very nice.
So, in a world before cell phones and social media, she had her ear to the ground.
Yes,
She
ma'am.
knew.
Were you a troublesome child?
I don't know that I had much time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Hyco's the kind of town where everybody has to play everything, or you don't have enough people to play anything. So I leaned more towards the being involved in absolutely everything.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure my mom would have a different take on that.
Sports is a big player for you. I know softball especially. You were quite a softball player once upon a time.
Yep. We grew up at the softball fields here in Fort Worth. My mom played at the Beach Street fields and taught us how to squat before we learned indoor plumbing. So softball was always a part of our lives. And I have 3 sisters. My younger twin sisters and I all played infield. So it worked out well when we got to high school and got to play together.
Yes, ma'am. Tarleton State on a softball scholarship?
No, just on. I got a in socializing.
Okay.
I worked hard at being everywhere all the time.
I think that major served you well throughout your life, right?
Yeah,
very good.
For sure.
Okay, so you're in college. The date January 20th, 2015, is well documented as your diagnosed date, correct?
Yes.
But before that happened, can you walk us through a little bit of why things started to come unraveled a little bit for you in your life when you started to know something was not right?
For sure. So I was playing softball. I was at my first big girl job and playing just city league in Weatherford, and I noticed I couldn't close my glove, and obviously that's not normal. And I was slated to play first base, so it's like your teeth, you got to be able to catch, and so that was the first kind of like, well, that's weird, but it didn't hurt, so can't be serious.
Sure. How old are you, Sunny?
I'm 38.
How old are you at that moment?
Oh,
it's okay.
26.
26. Okay.
Yeah, 25, 26.
Okay.
April 2013.
Okay.
And so I just made excuses to not play, not get picked up, and tried to ignore it. And then in December of 2013, I threw my back out. And pain motivates. So I went to my GP, and by that time I developed a tremor in my left ring finger. And I was like, this is my party trick. And it would dance around, and that started everything. We did MRIs to rule out multiple sclerosis because that is more prominent at my age and demographic. And it took about 18 months to finally get a diagnosis. What unfortunately happens with ALS is it's a diagnosis of deduction, so there is no qualifier, there's no blood test or anything like that. You just have to roll out all the knowns, and then there's some qualifiers once you get to that very small possibility. And
even now, would there be a qualifier for it?
No.
Okay, interesting.
And within the diagnosis population, only 10% of cases are genetic. The rest of us are sporadic. And so I'm in the 90% of what the fuck is going on?
For sure. So tell us, for those who don't know, what is ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease as it's commonly referred to?
So amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, meaning that the brain can no longer communicate with the muscles. So as the muscles stop receiving the communication, they atrophy, and your brain isn't affected. And so you're aware of everything that's going on, and they ultimately it leads into your breathing and your swallowing, and that's what you typically die from.
General prognosis for ALS, I read this this morning, is 2 to 5 years.
2 to 5 years, and always fatal.
Always fatal. You now, that by simple math, that's 8 years ago from your diagnosis, right? 10 years ago, excuse me, my simple math.
Yeah, it'll be
10 years
11
ago,
in January.
2015. Okay, incredible.
Yeah.
Before we get into all the things you're doing, by the way, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
What do you attribute to? Is it the modern medicine, new drugs that has brought this longevity to your life?
I mean, Michelob Ultra plays a big
Michelob Ultra.
role in my sanity and
Sure.
my social life. So I'm always looking for that partnership. But I mean, hope is definitely something we were talking about on the way here, that prior to the Ice Bucket Challenge in 2014, typical diagnosis conversation was go home and get your affairs in order. And it was extremely isolating, and nobody knew, unless you knew somebody with it. It wasn't one of the big, it wasn't cancer, it wasn't, the things that people know about or see on TV commercials. And so the Ice Bucket Challenge pulled it into the spotlight, and now all of a sudden people were talking about who they know with ALS, and the pipeline's getting stronger every year. And so I don't know if there's a good time to be diagnosed with ALS, but I think I was diagnosed at the perfect time, because it really has been a paradigm shift of go home and die to look at all these people that are living. And that's kind of been my purpose with this diagnosis, is if we're gonna have to do this, let's do it together.
Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't given the name Sunny to sit at home and wallow. I'm here to be out and make sure you're not alone.
I think that's what's made you who you are today, and while you still have this amazing life force and purpose. As you mentioned, your ring finger tremble. So I assume as you've progressed from that day and from diagnosis till now, certain things happen along that journey. Can you tell us a little bit about like the things? It's a slow, gradual, like things would happen with your finger, or is one day you wake up and something's not? It's different. Is it like that, or is it just? How would you describe the progression of the disease?
So I have friends that can pinpoint their progression. I prefer to be blissfully ignorant. As far as change, I go to a multidisciplinary clinic quarterly. So as far as changes every 3 months, there's not a whole lot. But looking back at this time last year, there was obvious changes. Looking back at this point, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I wasn't in a chair most of the time, still walking, still working. And so I haven't had any major, super fast progression, but it's all relative.
Right.
I mean, if I go really hard in the paint, I'm probably going to take a week or two off to recover. So if you ask me about the last 2 weeks, my answer could be different than 2 weeks from now.
What is really, you said really hard in the paint. What would be an event for you that would cause you to have to take a week or two of downtime?
So I just got back from Cape Cod.
Okay.
We do a annual retreat up there with an organization I'm part of called Her ALS Story. And we're a group of women diagnosed under the age of 35. We have over 130 members, and we're on 5 continents. And so 35 of us got together in Cape Cod, and plus caregivers. So there's about 100 of us total. And we just spent the week not having ALS as the cloud. It was we met with different communication people. We spent a lot of time on the beach. We went to a drag show and we had wheelchair races and just got to spend a lot of time being normal with people who understand what we're going through.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, wonderful, 5 days, but it took me about a week to, recover, to rest up, to...
In the recovery, you're saying that in the sense of you're just flat worn out, so you've lost all the drive to go is kind of dissipated for a while?
Yeah, I'd start binging Netflix and...
Michelob Ultras?
Yeah, Michelob Ultras.
Okay,
just, I liken it to the old pot commercials where the kids, flat on the couch. Those are my down days.
Fair enough.
I'm just rotting in my recliner.
Fair.
And then I inflate and I can go and do and be out and about.
What else do you like? You said Michelob Ultra, binge watching. What do you watch on Netflix?
Right now I'm watching Scandal. It
Scandal?
seems very appropriate for the time that we're living in right now.
Fair.
And so it just, Sex and the City is always a fallback, Old Faithful. Football, of course, I'm in a couple of fantasy leagues and
very good.
Just anything I can talk shit about. And
Speaking of talking shit, talk about your daily routine. Tell us what that looks like. A day for Sunny.
A day for Sunny. Depends on the day.
A good day for Sunny.
A good day. So yesterday was a really good day. I got to go get my nails done at we have a place in town which I can just roll my chair over to. One of my favorite, it's called Denise's Paint and Body.
Okay.
And they get phone calls for auto repair all the time, which is amazing, but a lot of people in town go, so just a great gossip social time. And then I'd forgotten to go to the bank, so I got to go back and forth a couple of times and get some good sunshine in, and then went and hung out at Green Canoe with some friends I hadn't got to catch up with in a while, and moved over to the Wild Saddle Saloon to watch the game last night, and was karaoke and just
very nice.
Be bopping around town.
You like staying up late?
Unfortunately, yes.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a night person.
Fair. And you mentioned a bad day. That was a good day. A bad day for you, is it aside from laying on the couch or in your chair, you said Can you describe what it might feel like on a bad day for you?
Yeah, so one thing nobody told me, when I got diagnosed, of all the statistics, of all the information, of all the hope out there, nobody told me that all my friends were gonna die. And so the harder I lean into this community and the more connected I get, the harder it is every time we lose someone. And so those days are just so heavy. And I have to give myself space to just feel it and process it and honor the person. And I like to share memories. I hope when it's my turn, people will share memories of me. And so just trying to stay in it. And that's a hard day.
For sure.
Oreos help.
Very good. Do you feel pain?
Not really. I have muscle cramps. I can sleep through a Charlie horse, which is a pretty learned skill. But for the most part, I don't have any like lingering or, painful things. The more tired I get, the more fatigued my muscles are, and that's painful. Somebody told me once, living with ALS is like your body running a marathon. And so anything you do on top of that is even more exhausting. And so, like, while I don't feel pain, I just don't feel good, all the time. I'm exhausted. My muscles are exhausted. I can't multitask, so that's frustrating. And all the extra energy and brain power that goes into operating my phone or, having conversation, it's heavy.
Fair. The treatments, I assume you have rehab at some point, or do you go to treatments and helpful things, stretching and those kind of things? And then,
you would think.
But not as much?
I don't. I get a massage once a month.
Massages are hard for you, though, I think, right?
Well, it's like a good hard. It's like a good
right.
Tired. To stretch, let the muscles get fatigued, and then go home and sleep really, really good.
Okay. Medicines. I read about some of the experimental medicines, and I can't even pronounce a few of them.
I can't either. I just make them up. People.
Fair to say they're making progress in the treatment of ALS?
So when I was diagnosed, there was one drug, and it had been on the market since the early 90s.
Oh, wow.
So there really hadn't been any advancement. And then with the Ice Bucket Challenge, all of a sudden we have studies, and I'm in an arm of, it's called the Healy Platform Trial, and where they use all the same placebos, so you're able to get through studies faster. And I'm not your typical, when you do a clinical trial, they want you as raw as possible. And so it's usually 18 to 24 months is kind of the window. But now that we have this, it's called expanded access, it's drugs and bodies. So someone like me who is a slow percussor, they want us to try things before they go to market. So it's not a trial in the traditional sense. I am getting active agent, but it's not FDA approved yet. So there's the research component behind it. The one I'm on currently, it's called Clean, and it's liquid gold. It's gold nanoparticles. And my mom likes to tell people that I'm finally worth something as I'm accruing this gold every day. And so there's been research across all kinds of disease fields about gold and inflammation and just cell processing. And for me, no news is good news.
Indeed.
I don't want to take something that I'm going to have an immediate, like, not reaction, but just notice of. But I also don't want to take something that's not showing any promise.
Right.
So, kind of happily in the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can we discuss your mortality for a second? I mean, first off, what do you attribute to, you've obviously beat the odds thus far. I know you know this. This is part of your story, but why do you think this is, if I may ask? Such a silly question.
I don't know. I don't think it's for me to know. You know, when I was first diagnosed, you go through the why me, why us, why, how come I don't get to do this, or how come, you know, this happened. And, you know, for those first 2 to 5 years, I was sprinting. I gotta feel alive. I gotta do all the things, because I'm not gonna make it. And then once I hit that 5-year mark, I felt like I could breathe. Like, okay, I've done a lot of really cool things, but I don't have to do everything tomorrow.
Fair.
And so I was able to kind of parse out, like, priority, and I now prioritize my own downtime and recovery. And I mean, COVID helps with that by shutting down the world, and I had to sit at home for a while. But I always say it's not for me to know why. It's my job to show up. I don't need to know what God's plan is for this. It's just my job to show up, and He'll use me how He wants to.
Do you believe that I think your positive outlook on yourself and the ALS community and your I mean, it's the most incredible thing. Is that part of your secret? Would you say?
I think so. I think this community is so full of hope and innovation and love, and I think anybody would be lucky to have that kind of support. Right. And on the days that I'm up and I'm happy to be the cheerleader for others, that's my role. And on the days that I need someone else to be the cheerleader, I have people to call. And so I think that plays a big role, not just with the disease, but in humanity. Right. And being able to know that you don't have to carry the weight of the world, and really making those connections that can help you through the hard days.
That's incredibly insightful. I absolutely think that's wonderful, and I agree with you. The first 5 years you just touched on a second ago, you said you were racing to get everything done. Most of us who know about your story, you threw a first pitch at a Ranger game. You're on the cover of Fort Worth, Texas, Fort Worth Inc., and I happen to know Hal Brown fairly well, so I thought that was really lovely. And that was 8 years ago, I think, right? So that's even been a while. You've driven a fast car, a Porsche. Other things you've done. You traveled the world.
I have.
What else have you done? That's
I got divorced.
That's okay.
Always.
Congrats.
Thank you. That was a huge catalyst to happiness.
We don't get to celebrate divorces so often here, so this is why not, right? Yes.
Yeah. I've always loved traveling. I had the opportunity to go to Brazil when I was 16, and it just bit me. I want to get out and see the world. And if I can do that while either modeling accessibility or using my voice at conferences or just going and bringing back information to my community, all the better. I can expense it
Yes, ma'am.
that way.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I always am on the hunt for the good vacations, but also traveling is fun for me.
You mentioned a second ago that you asked yourself the why me, all those questions that would happen, that most people would do, and given the circumstances you've been going through. But I know that there's no real answer, but what did you come to the conclusion when you're going through all that stuff? That's an impossible question to ask, but if I may ask, what happened there?
I mean,
Is
I
it
don't
just
know.
dumb?
I
Is it
don't
just
know.
dumb luck? Sonny?
No, I don't know that it's dumb luck, but there are certain parts of this diagnosis that are fantastic. I have the best group of girlfriends through her ALS story. I would not know them otherwise, and I can't imagine my life without them. I get princess parking everywhere I go. I wouldn't have that without a disease that requires a wheelchair. I get to pre-board on planes. I got to retire at 30. I have a master's degree for sale if anybody wants one. I mean, there's a lot of wonderful parts that would not have happened without the diagnosis. And so I think it's more important to show up and show out for the good rather than focus and worry about the bad.
Fantastic. I've noticed you have a few tats on you.
Oh, yes.
What's going on there?
Okay, so, Heiko, pretty small town, went to college, got a job, was trying to be, polished, and then once I was able to retire, it was like, all bets are off. I can have all the tattoos, I can get them, covered. I had my wedding date, I had it covered when I didn't need it anymore. A lot of mine are tributes to people, friends that I've lost. One of my girlfriends wrote her memoir, and one of the themes through the book is until further notice, celebrate everything. And that's something we say and use a lot in our organization, just in our journeys. I got the and sign, the ampersand, there so that you see it when I'm driving. And it's a reminder that I can feel sad about my diagnosis and love the life I'm living. And so one of my very best friends, her name's Desi, I'm going to see her in a few weeks for a rager for her 40th out in Long Island. But she got that, and so if she got that, I had to get that. And probably one of my favorites is there's, and I'll get the details wrong, but there's the man who had ALS and he's passed, and him and his friends got swallow tattoos. So a swallow is the first bird sailors see when they're approaching land. So it's a sign of hope. And so a lot of my ALS friends have different variations. I like this one. One of my girlfriends gets somebody else to draw it. One of my other friends she is on year 11. She moved her 11th one above her elbow to start the next decade. So, which is really cool. And so a lot of my friends get one for every year that they've been diagnosed. But I have an irrational fear of birds. And I realize I have a lot of bird tattoos for someone who does not like birds. And so I went with the tick marks instead of birds.
There's a lot of scary things out there, Sunny. Birds don't seem like one of them. I have to
I
be
know,
honest.
you don't know what they're thinking. I attribute it to, like, growing up at my grandparents' country club and the duck stealing your french fries.
Oh, sure,
Like,
sure.
I think that's where it started. It
Okay.
just hadn't gotten any better.
Sure. That's hilarious. How long, what's the longest someone with ALS has lived? Could you do this for 10 more years? 20
To
years?
my knowledge, hawking is kind of the gold standard as
Stephen
far as
Hawking.
the longest. I'm sure that's wrong, but that's who comes to my mind.
Is he somebody that you admire?
Yeah, I mean, I think I wish I would have got to meet him. I have met his daughter-in-law, and I love her, and I love hearing the stories about how he was able to keep working and how he continued to make contributions all the way to the end. I've always said that I am not here to be a record breaker. As fun as this is, this isn't something I'm going to do for a long time. I'm definitely a quality over quantity. So if I can get 5 really great years, then I would rather do that than have 10 struggling years.
That's incredible to hear. Sonny, you talk about 5 years. So clearly you've thought about the end. What does that feel like? Most of us know that the end's coming, but you have a little shorter window than the average person. So
at first it was terrifying, right? Like, nobody wants to die. But I think, whether you ascribe to the phases of grief or just plausible deniability, everybody's gonna get there. And then I think once I was able to move from, why is this happening? I gotta run at a full sprint. I gotta get it all done, to being able to, I can live with this, and I can live fully with this and be involved and supportive for others. That makes it a little less scary. But then, like I said, the longer you're in this community, the more people you lose. And you realize there are worse things than death.
indeed.
And that wasn't something I came to lightly. It wasn't something I came to immediately. Just knowing how this disease plays out, even without knowing the timeline, the end is going to be the joyful part.
Fair.
And so that makes it a little less terrifying.
Thank you for sharing that. It sounds like you, from earlier comments, you're religious, right? What are your thoughts about God and heaven and all that stuff?
I know where I'm going, and
Are there birds there?
I don't know. That's not up to me. He's in charge.
Right.
Like I said, it's for someone who likes to. I'm pretty type A. I do like to have a say in things. That's one area that I'm glad to turn the reins over. I don't have a whole lot of questions or doubts. It's just, it's my job to show up until it's my turn not to.
Yes, ma'am. Question: What would you say the meaning of life is? If I asked you that question,
The meaning of life.
I think your perspective might be a little different from a lot of folks, but
There is a C.S. Lewis quote that I use every chance I get, and it's all that's really worth the doing is what we do for others. And I feel like us getting to Heiko really kind of planted that seed of you can immediately see the effort or the benefit of the effort you put into the community or your church or Girl Scouts or your athletic team, and then carrying that to college and then into life and into this disease. Like my definition of others or my pool may have changed, but it's never been my goal to be self-serving. It's my goal to help and make connections and love on people as best as I can for as long as I can.
thank you for saying that. What would you like your legacy to be?
I don't legacy. So I received this award.
May I tell you what the 2025 ALS Hero Award? I'm going to ask you about that, so go ahead.
Which was very exciting. I'm so grateful they told me ahead of time, so I wasn't like stuffing my face and shocked when they said my name. But one of the other parts of the ceremony, a friend of mine with ALS wrote a song with a girl who was on The Voice, and they performed it, and her dad had ALS, and so they did a tribute video to like her family and what got him there. And her mom said that she doesn't believe anybody's truly gone until their name is no longer said. Or probably more eloquent words than that, but I hope that after I'm gone, people continue to say, my friend Sunny, or my Aunt Sunny, or this woman I saw on Facebook. I hope that people stop it.
I'm trying.
I hope that people keep telling my story. And I love when people tell me their story. You know, ALS isn't something I would wish on anybody, but I love when somebody comes up and says, I know exactly what you're going through. Even if what they think is different.
Sure.
You know, they had a parent in a wheelchair. I had a woman at church on Sunday say, I spent time in a wheelchair. I know how invisible you can feel. And I was like, girl, I'm not invisible. You are going to see me. And you'll hear me. But I understand your feelings on that. And so I love that humanity, that humanness of, I'm going to tell you about who I thought of when I saw you or heard your story. And I hope that people continue doing that with my story long after I'm gone.
Beautiful. Do people cry in front of you a lot?
A lot.
Yeah. Well, your strength.
I would say it's not a crying disease.
That's right.
We're here to have fun.
do you have heroes? Who do you look up to in life? Who have you looked up to in life?
I have a lot of heroes.
Stephen Hawking, one of them, that sounds like, but
Yeah, I am always in awe of the people that stay in the fight after their person is gone. Because I don't know that I could do that. And so for me, like, you've lived this, you've seen this, and still you choose to pour into this community. It's like, you're it for me. You're who I look up to. Because tables turned, I think I'd run. I don't think I would stay. I don't know that I could see this play out on my person and want to stay in the fight.
Fair. If people don't know you and they see you or want to know something more about ALS, what would you tell them if somebody was recently diagnosed? You're going to be there in their face if they want to look and research. You're there now, and that's a beautiful thing. What would you tell somebody who's fresh into this?
I would tell them to lean in to this community. Let this community love you through every emotion and phase. It's a lot. It's a lot for everyone around you. I would have never have guessed me being diagnosed with ALS would turn me into a counselor for those around me. But that's kind of part of it. And so just make those connections and learn from people that have tried and have gone before you. I have a little website, sunnystrong.com.
Sunnystrong.com.
And I used to be really good at blogging, and then now it's more, I do more on social. I would like to get back into blogging, if only so that my sisters can produce something after I'm gone and have a little money. But I have no intention of writing a book, but I would love to leave a legacy for them to do as they please.
When you go out in public, people notice you, obviously. When people look at you that don't know, does that ever bother you? Did that ever make you feel uncomfortable?
It did at first. But I remember being that person, especially right after diagnosis, like seeing people who have limited mobility in their hands and thinking, oh God, my hands are gonna look like that. And so it's not about my, what's the word? Like,
perspective?
Or no, it's just like, it has very little to do with like my self-esteem or my inadequacies, and more about the person just trying to figure out, or maybe they're working through something. And so taking that like defensive off, if I can teach you something, if I can show you something, I've learned to turn my chair off before I let the kids play all over it. But I hope that my interaction with you makes your next interaction with someone with ALS or in the chair or whatever that much easier and makes you more comfortable. And so I think that's how we make the world better, is exposing each other to things that maybe not, you haven't seen before. And feeling confident to ask questions. When I first got diagnosed, I was falling all the time because my brain was 5 steps ahead of where my body physically was. And we were at a little bar in Austin, and a man walked by and he had a ski pole. And I said, tell me about that. Why did you offer that versus a cane? Had nothing to do. He later told me how he ended up in that situation, but I was truly just curious about. And he was like, it's easy, and I can adjust it. It's like, wait, I break them all the time and order more from Amazon. Like, it's not medical equipment, and it lets people know, hey, there's something, different. The person's not just drunk. They may also be drunk, but that's not, and so, like, that was a game changer. All of a sudden, I was more confident walking, and, I mean, I still face sweat and broke my nose, but that's kind of part of everybody's ALS story.
Yes,
but just that evolution of equipment and why this works for me versus that. And,
Sure.
it makes life easier.
Indeed.
That's where this community, really steps up, because they can, use this or try this. And one of the coolest things on our Her ALS Story website, we have a hacks page, and they're all products that have been tried and approved by our members, and everything from eating at home to eating out to toileting to all the things you don't think about until you're in that situation. And it's a really cool way to go through and think, well, I'm fighting, to get my bra on in the morning. Here's something that somebody used that makes it easier.
That's great.
And just that lived experience making your life easier.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm very glad to know you now, and I really appreciate you sharing with us. This is unbelievable, and I hope I can call you a friend now.
Yes.
I wanted to thank your friend who brought you here.
Have you met her?
I've met her before. Her name's
Yeah.
Christy Wilson. I might call her sister from time or two, but yeah, she's a lovely lady. But I want to thank her for getting you here
for sure.
and making this whole
I
thing
call her
happen.
sister too.
Good.
Actually, the first time I met her, she called me sister.
She's a good one.
Yeah.
She's a good one. Before we let you go, I like to ask our guests, aside from anything familial, family, any of that stuff, would you be able to tell me the best day of your whole life?
The best day of my whole life. I've had a lot of best days. The one that immediately comes to mind, we were in Perth, Australia for this international super sciencey, nerdy ALS conference. Absolutely amazing. And we started the day, it was our last day there. We had moved closer, the conference was over. We'd gotten a hotel close to the beach. I wanted my feet in the Indian Ocean. And we started the day just kind of bopping around, meeting, locals, exploring around us. We ended up at the boardwalk and got tattoos. So I got my sunflower that we use for all of our marketing and stuff. And then because we were there in December, which is their summer, so Santa was in shorts. So we got to see Santa at the beach in shorts. And then that night there was fireworks after the sunset. And that was the day that I was like, this is it. This is what it's worth living.
That's wonderful.
It's amazing.
That is wonderful. Great answer. Thank you for sharing. Thanks again for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And watch out for those birds.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
I'll look at birds differently now when I see them next. So
I'm not like conspiracy theorist level. Like, I don't think they're government spines like some people. It's more just like
Fair.
ugh.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Thanks again for watching. That's been Fortitude. Thank you, Sunny Brous.
Thank you.
Be introduced to the lives in Fortitude. Burn the town down, Cowtown, let's dance in a rag, meet some new friends. Go ahead, cancel all your plans for the stories you'll remember in Fortitude.